Good morning, and we are down on our new development site in North Manchester. This site is for 5 luxury houses, and I just wanted to introduce Stephen, who is a PCA accredited Japanese knotweed expert. So when we've gone in for planning on this project, Japanese knotweed has been flagged up on the ecology, and it's a requirement of the council that we eradicate the Japanese knotweed in the correct manner. And we have worked, and we are working alongside Stephen from Japanese Knotweed to supervise and get rid of it in the correct manner, Stephen.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, my job today is to make sure that all the correct measures are put in place. The main issue with councils and building companies is you don't want the Japanese knotweed spreading off site. This plant spreads by the root system. So if a tiny fragment of the root makes it off site, it will grow. It does produce seeds, it produces thousands of seeds, they're all infertile, they can't be cross-pollinated. It's very unlikely they just spread from seed. The measures that we put in place on site is we put signs on the front of the site saying do not enter unless people contact me. I need to see everybody that comes on site. I talk to them about the Japanese knotweed and say, look, it can be spread on your boots, on your shoes. We have a wash station set up, which we'll show you in a minute, just inside the site. So anybody leaving, I make sure that their shoes and their boots are cleaned immaculately, so that we don't, with no risk of anything leaving site. In the actual dig area where the Japanese knotweed is, what I tend to do is I'll cut all the stems. They're burnt in a fire bin. Have applied for a D7 exemption notice, and what that does, that gives us power to burn as much waste as we want, Japanese knotweed waste as we want, up to 3 tonnes. We've only got a wheelbarrow load today, there's not much, but we'll burn that in a fire pit, and that D7 exemption notice allows you to do that. I've applied for that from the Environment Agency, that's all gone through fine. And then later on today, 2 big wagons will come. We'll dig out the Japanese knotweed. I will supervise the depth to make sure that all the rhizome is dug out, and that will go to a specialist landfill site that is permitted to take the Japanese knotweed waste. That is then buried below site, and household waste is put on top to prevent it growing back through the top of the site. But that's about what we're up to today, what we're going to sort out today.
So we've got all the plant, we've got all the machinery down here.
Yeah.
We was here nice and early getting the site set up.
Yeah.
We've had to put tarpaulins down to load the excavation
waste onto it,
because we've actually got to dig out the roots.
That's right.
We've
cut
cut
it onto the tarpaulin, and they're going to grab it, put it into the wagon.
Yeah.
And anything that's used, machinery, tools, we've got a wash station set up. You brought in a Bowser type wash.
Bowser and
and we'll
jet
power
wash
everything to make sure everything's clean before it leaves this site entrance. So
so
good.
let's have a look. Let's show you what we've set up.
Yeah. So we've got signs on the gate. Once we've took up this concrete, the Japanese knotweed is along that boundary there near the fence. So we'll put up a temporary barrier again with signs saying keep out of this area, because we don't want anybody that's coming on site going in there unnecessarily, so we block it off. And then what we'll do then is the wagons will come along, we'll put the tarpaulins down, dig out the Japanese knotweed, put it onto the tarpaulins, and they will then grab it and put it into bucket wagons. The wagons will be covered when they leave this site, and the grabs will be power washed in that area there, so that there's no cross-contamination.
You're actually just telling me then, Stephen, weren't you? These plants, they don't look like much out of the ground.
No.
We can show you a stem in a minute. It was only like that.
Yeah.
But when you pulled the stem out, you chopped the stem, and then he pulled some of the ground back, and he showed me the roots underneath.
Yeah, the roots can go down, potentially, they can go down 2 to 3 metres.
Yeah. So
I think it's unlikely on this site because they were quite short plants. I estimate the plants to be about 5 years old, that's all. So they might not go down that deep, but in some cases they can go down quite deep. So as they start digging, I will, watch and make sure that we get it all out.
So we could go down maybe a metre and a half in the areas.
Yeah, you can do, yeah.
Yeah, so there's quite a bit of excavation to go. Like Stephen was saying, we've got the landfill coming down, and this waste is going to a registered landfill site. We've got all the correct certification. That's been booked in for some time now. So it's all organised correctly. A lot of time and money. Like you say, we've got the water bowser and jet wash behind us. We've got the fire bin there to burn the roots. We've got the tarpaulins for when it starts getting excavated, and we can put the waste onto that. And obviously we've got the cleaning station there. So it's looking. Should we just show where the areas are?
I'll show you the area. With this concrete plinth, that's been broken up. You can see the small plants here. Look, these are what we call bonsai growth. This has been treated at some point in the past. So what the Japanese knotweed does, its root system, rhizome system, has been poisoned, and it can't grow as it would like to. You know, when you treat Japanese knotweed, what it does, it stops it producing amylo cells. So it basically, amylo cells, it basically starves the plant to death slowly. It is difficult to get rid of Japanese knotweed. You've got to do it over time, and it can take 4 to 5 years. Because there's houses going on here, the best option is to do what we're doing. Burn the actual stems, so then there's some of the stems there with the leaves.
These are the stems we were talking about then.
Yeah, so burn the stems, and then the root system, the rhizome system.
There's not much to it.
No. We're going to dig that out, and then that's going to go off to landfill site and be buried. But yeah, as Rob was saying, when you look at the Japanese knotweed, when you pull it out, you know, they're actually quite thin, the stems, but then the root system can be a lot bigger, a bit like tree branches underground. So you've got to really dig down and make sure you get all that out really. So as you look there, that stem's quite thin, but the root on it's a lot thicker. Now it could be that when it goes underground, I've done supervised digs before, and the root is
really?
that diameter. Yeah, I've actually got a photo of that
wow.
on my phone. That was a pub in Bolton. It was literally 3 or 4 inches diameter.
And how tall was the Japanese knotweed?
4 metres high.
4 metres,
Yeah.
wow.
And that was over, I estimated that over 20 years old. Going off the cane diameter when it's growing, you can usually estimate the age of the Japanese knotweed. And that had been there a long time. What I do is I'll go back on Google Street Maps, and you can do a timeline, so you can go back to like 2018, 2016 and see if it was growing. So if I do any domestic customers, I'll go back. The Google street cars are very useful for me to check the history. But yeah, this is quite thin here, but I would expect when we start digging out, we might find root systems as big as that. Going off what we've seen, yeah. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for that, Stephen, and we'll crack on then.
We'll get a good job. We'll do a good job
today.
today.
Cheers.